Dear students, welcome back for today's session. So let us move with the level 1 31st question. So the question here we have is, in cockroach, walking legs arises from, alright, 4 options have been given: prothorax and mesothorax and are 2 pairs, mesothorax and metathorax and are 2 pairs, all the thoracic segments and are 3 pairs, and the last option is first 3 abdominal segments and are 3 pairs. So here firstly let me tell you, dear students, that when we consider this question, the body of cockroach is divided into, alright, 3 parts. The first part is the head, and the second part is the thorax, and the third part is the abdomen. Alright. So this is the 3 parts of the body of the cockroach. Now here when we consider the thorax part is again divided into 3 parts. The first part here is, now we call it to as the prothorax. The second part is called to as mesothorax, and the third part is called to as metathorax. Alright. Now dear students, let me tell you that each thoracic segment, whether it is a prothorax or mesothorax or metathorax, it is divided into segments. So each thoracic segment, alright, each thoracic segment will have pair of walking legs. Pair of walking legs. Please understand this, okay? So that's why, among the given options, we can say that the third option, that is, all the thoracic segments are present, and in all the segments we can find under totally, we can say 3 pairs we have. Alright, each pair, if you consider 3 pairs totally we have in each of the prothorax, metathorax and the mesothorax, 1 pair each. If you consider totally 3 pairs we have. Alright. So the right option here is the third option. The next question we have here is, the correct sequence of the parts of alimentary canal in cockroach is. We have to start with the, that we all know that alimentary canal starts from the mouth, and all the parts, as it moves on till the anus, we have to identify, dear students. Okay. So the first option here is mouth, pharynx, esophagus, crop, gizzard, midgut, cecum, colon, rectum and anus. Second is mouth, pharynx, esophagus, gizzard, crop, midgut, ileum, colon, rectum and anus. The third option is mouth, pharynx, esophagus, crop, proventriculus, midgut, ileum, colon, rectum and anus. And the last option is mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, crop, midgut, hindgut and anus. Dear students, firstly let me tell you that when we consider the alimentary canal of cockroach, alright, let me tell you that it is divided into 3 parts, that is the foregut, alright, then the second part is the midgut, and the third part is the hindgut. Alright. So these are the 3 parts of what? Alimentary canal, or the digestive tube, what you call it to as, of what? The cockroach. Now let us understand what are the parts of foregut, midgut and hindgut. When we consider the foregut first, okay. When we consider the foregut, let me tell you that the first part includes here is that of mouth, followed by the mouth, there is pharynx. Alright, then pharynx leads to esophagus, and then there is crop, and finally gizzard. Okay, so let me repeat. The foregut is the first part is the mouth, which leads to the pharynx, followed by the esophagus, then we have crop, finally gizzard. So these are the parts of the foregut in order. Then dear students, next we have midgut. Alright, so midgut here, when we speak of midgut, alright, so it is a long tube-like structure, long tube-like structure. Alright, so now till gizzard we have completed, right dear students? So there, one more important aspect, dear students, what you need to remember is that here gizzard is also called as proventriculus. Alright, we call that as proventriculus. It is also called as proventriculus. Remember that. First is mouth, then pharynx, then esophagus, then crop, then gizzard or proventriculus. Then we have the midgut. Finally, we have the hindgut, dear students. Last part of the alimentary canal is hindgut. So here, hindgut, when we consider, it is much broader, alright, and differentiated into three parts. Alright, it has three parts. Alright, the first part is the ileum, then comes the colon, then comes the rectum. Finally, the rectum leads to the anus, to the outside. Right, dear students? Okay. So, in order, if we take the 32nd question, it starts with the, it starts with the mouth, then comes the pharynx, then comes the esophagus, then comes the crop, followed by the gizzard or proventriculus. Then after that, midgut. Midgut does not divide into parts here. Then the hindgut is divided into ileum, colon and rectum. Now please go for option 3. That is your correct answer. Dear students, moving on to the next question, we have recognize the figure and find out the correct matching. See, there are in the given here pictures, it is having the parts of head region and mouth parts. We need to identify what is A, B and C as well as D. See, we can find here parts of head region, alright, as well as we can find the mouth parts. This is the first aspect you can remember. Then secondly, dear students, now let us understand each one of them. Okay. Now A, here in the given picture, A represents the mandible, alright, and B represents the maxilla. So mandible and maxilla are the two jaws of the cockroach. And if you look at C, it is indicating the labium. Alright, it is indicating the labium. Labium is in fact the mouth part, which is the lower lip, we call it as. Finally, we have the D there. Okay, if you look at D, it is the labrum. Alright. So labrum is nothing but the upper lip, dear students. Alright. Let me say A is mandible and B is maxilla, then C is labium and D is labrum. Okay. So these are the head parts and the mouth parts which have been given. So please go for option 3. Option 3 is your right answer. Next question we have is Malpighian tubules are. Options given are 100 to 120 yellow colored filamentous structure. Second option 100 to 120 brown colored filamentous structure. Option 3 given here is 100 to 150 yellow colored filamentous structure, then option 4 which is given here is 100 to 150 yellow colored chitinous structure. Alright. First of all, let me tell you what are Malpighian tubules. See, Malpighian tubules, when we are speaking, they are the excretory structures of cockroach. Excretory structures of cockroach. First point. Alright. And they help in elimination of nitrogenous waste. Right? They help in elimination of nitrogenous waste rather. Okay, so that's one aspect. Okay, and where do we find these Malpighian tubules? See, I told you the alimentary canal, I told you that the alimentary canal is divided into foregut, midgut and hindgut. Correct? Now, these Malpighian tubules can be present at the junction of midgut and the hindgut. In the junction of midgut and hindgut. Alright, dear students, midgut and hindgut, we can find the Malpighian tubules. Alright, so now they are filamentous structures. Alright, they are filamentous structures and are approximately 100 to 150 thread-like yellow colored structures. Alright, 100 to 150 in number approximately they will be. So, in the 34th question, the most appropriate answer you can go for is option 3. That is your right answer. Dear students, the next question we have here is, the 10th segment bears a pair of jointed filamentous structure called 10th segment. Okay. In cockroach we are considering, dear students. So, options given are anal cerci in both sexes, anal style in both sexes, anal cerci in male cockroach only, and finally anal style in male cockroach only. Okay. So, we need to identify in 10th segment what structure is present, whether it is present in both the sexes or only in male or only in female. We need to identify, dear students. Okay, anyway, see, let me first of all tell you that anal cerci, alright, are, yes, they are present in the 10th segment, and in both we can find with respect to males and females. Alright, in both males and females we can find them, it is common. Alright, then dear students, the other options they have also given anal style. Okay, so among the given options we already know the answer. The first option itself is the correct one. Alright, so you can go for the first option itself. But let us also understand about the anal style which they have given there. Alright. See, anal style is present in the 9th segment of the cockroach. 9th segment. Alright. It is present only in the male. Are you getting a point? Only in the male you can find, it is absent in female. Alright. That's very important. And the third option, anal cerci in male cockroach only. No. Anal cerci is present in both males and females. Anal style in male cockroach only. Anal style they have given in male cockroach only. Yes, that can also be the correct option. Are you getting a point? But they have asked here 10th segment. Anal style is present in the 9th segment. So the 10th segment which is present is anal cerci. Alright. So please go for option 1. That itself is your right answer. So, let us move on. Sexual dimorphism in cockroach is shown by option 1, anal cerci which are present in males only. Option 2, anal styles which are present in males only. Then option 3, anal cerci which are present in females only. Then option 4, anal styles which are present in females only. Dear students, see, first of all, sexual dimorphism means what? You know, sexual dimorphism. Here sexes can be identified. Alright, on the basis morphologically, the sexes can be identified. By seeing the external features itself, we can identify the sexes. Alright, so I have already told you anal cerci is present. Alright, anal cerci is present in the 10th segment in both males and females. So this cannot be the option. In both it is present. Alright, in both it is present. But anal style, dear students, see here, when we are talking about the anal styles, let me tell you, anal styles are present only in males. Only in males. Alright, they are absent in females. Alright, and these anal styles which are present in males help in determination of sexes morphologically. We call sexual dimorphism. So among the given options, the right answer is option 2. That is your right answer. Next we have, with the help of several ommatidia, a cockroach can receive several images of an object. This kind of vision is called. Options given are nocturnal vision, being common during night. Option 2, mosaic vision with more sensitivity but less resolution. Option 3, mosaic vision with more resolution but less sensitivity. Option 4, nocturnal vision with more sensitivity and more resolution. First of all, see, let me tell you, see that each eye of cockroach, alright, when we consider the each eye of cockroach, alright, so it has the presence of approximately 2000, alright, hexagonal structures, alright, structures has 6 sides, okay, called as ommatidia. We call this as ommatidia. So remember, ommatidia is present in the eye of cockroach. In singular, we also say ommatidia as ommatidium. Okay, dear students. Now here let me tell you that with the help of this ommatidia, alright, a cockroach can receive many images, several images at once of a single object. Of a single object, it can receive many images with the help of what? The ommatidia, the 2000 hexagonal structures which are present in each eye of cockroach. Alright, this kind of vision, actually now many images as observed, alright, it is like mosaic pattern, alright, in nature. Many images for single object is called mosaic vision rather, alright, and this mosaic vision has more sensitivity, alright, and it has very less resolution. You know, very less resolution. Enlargement of the image is very less, alright, with respect to the structures called ommatidia. Anyway, alright, so when we consider this, the right answer among the given options is option 2, that is mosaic vision with more sensitivity and less resolution, which is brought about by the structures called as ommatidia. Okay, go for option 2. Dear students, the next question we have here is, read the following statements and find out the incorrect statement. So 4 options have been given. We have to go for the option which is wrong, which is incorrect. The first option we have is, mosaic vision is common during night, hence called nocturnal vision. In cockroach, brain supplies nerves to antennae and compound eyes. Third option is, fat body, that is nephrocytes and uricose glands also help in excretion in cockroach. And then male cockroach bears one pair as an accessory reproductive glands. So these are the options. We need to identify among these 4 options which is the incorrect one. So let me tell you firstly, let us consider the first option. See, we talked about mosaic vision even in the previous question. Alright. So mosaic vision, of course, it helps in during the night also. Alright. To have, with the help of ommatidia it occurs. And I already said you of a single object. Many pictures can be, many pictures are obtained through these structures called ommatidia, which are present in the eyes of cockroach. Alright. Now, it helps in mosaic vision. Yes, indeed. So that is also called a nocturnal vision. That's true, because as it is helping in the night vision, it is also called as what? Nocturnal vision. So option 1 is correct. Now let us move on to the second option. See, in cockroach, yes, of course, the brain supplies the nerves for the functioning of, one is the antennae, which is sensory in function. Antennae helps in sensory functions, and compound eyes, which help in vision. Alright, for both the antennae as well as for the compound eyes, the brain supplies the nerves. In case of cockroach, that's also the right correct option. Then third option, if you look into fat body, we call nephrocytes. Yes, nephrocytes are fat bodies, that's correct. And another, we have uricose glands. These both together, of course, also help in excretion of nitrogenous waste. Alright. Other than the major organ we have, other than Malpighian tubules. So I have talked about the Malpighian tubules. Between the junction of midgut and the hindgut it is present, and it is a major structure, 100 to 150 yellow filamentous structures called Malpighian tubules help in excretion of nitrogenous waste. That's a major structure. But other than that, even the nephrocytes as well as the uricose glands help in excretion. So option 3 is also correct then. So let us look into the fourth option here. So when we consider the fourth option, male cockroach bears, they have given one pair as an accessory reproductive gland. One pair they have given. Alright. So accessory glands are not present in pairs. Alright. Accessory glands are also called here as conglobate gland, or it also can be referred to as phallic gland. Right? Conglobate gland or phallic gland is the other name of accessory glands. So it is not present in pairs, rather it is unpaired. Alright, they have said in the statement that they are present in one pair. So that is the wrong statement. Fourth, yes, of course, accessory glands are part of the male reproductive structure, and accessory glands also helps in the formation of outermost part of what we can say the spermatophore, a structure called spermatophore. That is the function of accessory glands or phallic glands. Alright, let us understand that first. So when we consider the accessory gland, they are present in males but they are unpaired. So the given fourth option is incorrect. That will be your right answer. Please go for option 4. Dear student, the next question we have here is recognize the figure and find out the correct matching. So here the reproductive structure we have here of the male cockroach. So 4 options have been given. So among these 4 options we need to match, alright, the correct ones. So when we consider here A, B, C, D, E, we need to match. The first structure A is here, alright, the right phalomere. all right, right phalomere, all right. And next B we have is that of the ventral phalomere, all right. So then we have C, which is rather pseudopenis, all right. Then D we have left phalomere, okay. Then E, the E part which is represented here is of that of titillator, all right. So these are the structures which have been given, all right. We know that phallomeres are external genitalia. Other than the normal reproductive structures, these phallomeres help, all right, in the other supporting and protective functions. Then pseudopenis is also the part of the male reproductive structure, all right. So you can see the C which is marked there, and left phallomere is the D option, and then we have titillator, all right. So these are the labelings you need to represent with respect to male reproductive structure of cockroach. So your answer is option 2. Please go for 2. The next question we have is, in male cockroach the external genitalia is represented by, 4 options have been given. 3 phallomeres, right, left and dorsal. 3 gonapophyses, right, left and ventral. 3 phallomeres, right, left and lateral. And then finally chitinous symmetrical structures, okay. See, external genitalia here means, all right, they are the part of the male as well as female reproductive structure. So we are discussing here with respect to the male reproductive structure, all right. So the phallomeres are part of the male reproductive system of cockroach, dear students, okay, of cockroach. They are nothing but what I have here, they are referring it to as phallomeres, okay. Now let me tell you, see, primary sex organs are present, all right, and secondary sex organs are also present, all right. Secondary sex organs, primary sex organs help in the production of gametes, and secondary sex organs help in they may be of different functions, okay. They may store their secretions through the ducts or glands and all those secondary sex organs will be there. Other than that, external genitalia is also present, dear students, all right. When we consider the external genitalia, cockroach has 3 phallomeres, okay. 3 phallomeres are present, all right. So these 3 phallomeres are right, left and lateral, okay. So right, left and lateral. So the correct option you have to go for is option 3. Please go for option 3. The next question we have is, on an average female cockroach produces dash oothecae, each containing dash eggs. So we have to say how many oothecae at on an average the female cockroach produces, all right. And in the oothecae are the structures which contain the eggs. So how many eggs will be present on an average inside the each oothecae? And the nymph grows by molting, all right. Molting means here shedding of skin, all right. So it sheds the skin. So nymph grows by molting. About how many times it has to molt to form an adult, okay, cockroach. So let me tell you, see, on an average in the the cockroach, female cockroach produces 9 to 10 oothecae, all right. See, the oothecae are the structures which store, all right, or which contain the eggs in them, all right. So how many eggs do they contain is also asked here. So that is the B, right. Approximately from 14 to 16 eggs it will contain, all right. And then further there is a structure called nymph, all right. So this nymph is actually the developing cockroach, all right. So it keeps developing and until it forms adult, all right. It has to undergo at least minimum of 13 times the molting. Molting is shedding of skin. Okay. So among the given options, the right answer is option 1. Alright, please go for 1. The next question we have here is, in water, the aquatic respiratory organs or organ of frog are or is option A, skin through which cutaneous respiration occurs, skin, lungs and buccal cavity, lungs and buccal cavity, skin and buccal cavity. See dear students, here in the given option, let me tell you, frog has 3 types of respiration. Okay, one is it can occur through the skin. If it occurs through the skin, we call that as cutaneous respiration. Right, this is the first one. Secondly, if it occurs through lungs, then we call that as pulmonary respiration. All right, then it may also occur through the buccal cavity. All right, we call buccopharyngeal respiration. Anyway, so these 3 types, through it can occur through the skin, lungs and buccal cavity. And here remember that, all right, in water, all right, so skin, through skin they will respire. Okay, so that is called as cutaneous respiration will occur in the water. All right, and on land, all right, all 3 types we can find, all 3 types of respiration, that is cutaneous, pulmonary respiration through lungs, and buccal cavity, that is called buccopharyngeal respiration. And in the larvae, because they show indirect development, they have larvae. Okay, so the larvae, all right, will respire through gills. Okay, so anyway, that can be seen. But anyway, the option here is that, in water, what type of respiration occurs, so it is through the skin. So please go for option 1. Next we have, on land, the respiratory organ of frog is or are skin, lungs and buccal cavity, lungs and buccal cavity, and skin and buccal cavity. Dear students, in the previous question itself we discussed, so when it is in water, all right, let me just repeat, when it is in water, the respiration can occur through skin, that is called cutaneous respiration. Okay, when it is on land, all 3 types we can find. Generally, the major type, that is, it can occur through lungs, called as pulmonary respiration, and it can occur through the skin as well, we call cutaneous respiration, and also through the buccal cavity. Okay, so now among the given options, on land, when the frog is, it can respire through skin, lungs as well as buccal cavity, dear students. So please go for option 2, which is the correct one. Next we have, during estivation and hibernation in frog, gaseous exchange takes place through. Okay, that means the respiration, again it is talking. So the options given are skin, the second option is skin, lungs and buccal cavity, then the third option is lungs and buccal cavity, and the fourth option is skin and buccal cavity. Dear students, when we consider this question, firstly let me tell you that estivation here means to say that it is called as the winter sleep. All right, estivation is called as winter sleep, I will tell you. Okay, then we have next hibernation, all right, which is called as summer sleep. Okay, so now when you talk about estivation or hibernation, what the frog does, they burrow the soil and inside that they survive. Okay, so there, to avoid extreme colds, all right, extreme cold of winter, and for summer sleep, to avoid the extreme heat, they will actually make burrows and survive inside. Okay, so during that time they respire generally through the skin, dear students. So that means cutaneous respiration will occur. So among the given options, the first option 1 itself, that is skin cutaneous respiration, is the right one. Next question and the last question of level 1, dear students, we have is a triangular structure that joins the right atrium of heart in frog is called. Okay, 4 options have been given: sinus venosus and receives blood from vena cava, conus arteriosus and receives blood from vena cava, sinus venosus and receives blood from pulmonary artery, conus arteriosus and receives blood from pulmonary vein. Okay, let me tell you that first thing, let us understand that sinus venosus is a triangular structure which is a part of the circulatory system. Okay, which supplies the deoxygenated blood. All right, deoxygenated blood to the right auricle. Deoxygenated means, in simple terms, we can say impure blood, or the blood which has more of carbon dioxide and which needs to be made pure, which needs to be made oxygenated. All right, so this deoxygenated blood moves to the right auricle through a triangular structure called as sinus venosus. All right, dear students. Okay, and we also have here, okay, first let me tell you the answer is 3 here. Sinus venosus, it receives blood from pulmonary artery. It receives from pulmonary artery. Are you getting a point? And later it transports the blood to the right auricle, like that. Okay, so this is the one, and the third option is correct. And they have also given conus arteriosus. We know that conus arteriosus, all right, is a structure which where ventricle opens into that. All right, and where you can find this, it is present on the ventral side of heart, or in the front portion of the heart we can find it. Okay, into this structure ventricles will go and attach. All right, that structure is called as what? Conus arteriosus. All right, so what is the role after the blood ventricle join there? All right, what happens here? The role of conus arteriosus is that it circulates the blood, right? It circulates the blood to the different parts of the body. All right, after purification, all right, different parts of the body it supplies the blood. Are you getting my point, dear students? Okay, so this you need to remember. All right, so among the given options, okay, let me tell you the right answer is 3. Okay, please go for it. Both sinus venosus and conus arteriosus play a significant role. Conus arteriosus supplies the blood to the different parts of the body after purification, and sinus venosus receives blood from pulmonary artery. Okay, that is the aspects you need to remember. So please go for 3. Next, level 2, first question we have here is 2 common characters found in centipede, cockroach and crab are. First, it is given is jointed legs and chitinous exoskeleton, then green glands and tracheae. Third is book lungs and antennae. Then the fourth option is compound eyes and anal cerci. Firstly, dear students, let me tell you that, see, the centipede, cockroach as well as the crab, okay, all these belong to the phylum called Arthropoda. They belong to the phylum Arthropoda. The centipede, cockroach and crab, all these are characterized by, all right, the presence of jointed legs, which is the common characteristics of Arthropoda. All right, and also this is the common characteristic, that is presence of chitinous hard exoskeleton. All right, so exoskeleton, this hard exoskeleton is made up of what we call it as chitin. All right, dear students. Okay, So among the given options, the first option, that is jointed legs and chitinous exoskeleton, is the common character, alright, are the common characters among the centipede, cockroach and crab. Second question under level 2 we have is, in earthworm, integumentary and pharyngeal nephridia are exonephric, pharyngeal and septal nephridia are exonephric, integumentary and septal nephridia are enteronephric, and pharyngeal and septal nephridia are enteronephric. Dear students, when we talk about the excretory system of earthworm, right, let me tell you that it is made up of three important excretory structures. The first we have here is septal nephridia, alright. Then secondly we have pharyngeal nephridia, alright. And thirdly we have integumentary nephridia, alright. All these help in elimination of nitrogenous waste, that is septal, pharyngeal and integumentary nephridia. And what do we mean by enteronephric and exonephric? Let us understand. See, enteronephric here means to say that, the structures which open, alright, or the nephridia which open into intestine, alright. Secondly, we have exonephric. So here, exo refers to open on the body surface, alright. They open on the body surface, alright, dear students. Okay. Firstly, let me tell you, enteronephric means the nephridia which open into the intestine. Exonephric means the nephridia which open into the body surface, alright. See, here let me tell you two important aspects. See, the pharyngeal and, alright, septal nephridia, they open into they are enteronephric, alright. Enteronephric means what here? They are opening into the intestine. Why they are opening into the intestine? Because they are enteronephric, alright. This is the first aspect. And next we have integumentary nephridia, alright. So integumentary nephridia is what? Exonephric, alright. So it opens directly into the body surface, dear students. So among the given options, you look at the fourth option, that is the pharyngeal and septal nephridia are enteronephric. That is the correct option. Okay, please go for option 4.